Welcome to Kentucky Football Nation. Well, let's talk about the 2025 offense. But before we do that, let's review the 2024 offense, which was awful, which is why most people are picking us to come in last or next to last. They're just looking at the numbers from last year. But let's go over the numbers for last year because it wasn't good. We were 119th out of 134 schools in the FBS in total offense. That was good for last in the SEC. We averaged 330 yards per game, which is awful. We averaged 18 points a game, which is not going to win you. Forget the SEC. That's not going to win you a game in the MAC. Rushing was really disappointing. 145 yards per game rushing and a 3.9 yard per attempt. We did have 11 rushing touchdowns, but in 12 games, once again, that's not going to win you any games in the Mountain West. Passing wasn't much better. We averaged 184 yards per game passing, which is 7.5 yards per attempt. That's not awful. And we had 15 touchdowns passing. We averaged 5.3 yards per play, which is not god awful. We only scored 29 touchdowns, which is not great for, once again, 12 games. That's where you're averaging 2 touchdowns a game. Third down conversions, we were only 33%. I mean, that's not awful, but you really need to be closer to 40. Brock Vandergriff, our quarterback, threw for 1,593 yards. He had 10 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So that wasn't great. And we'll talk more about him later because I think he was part of the problem. And our offensive line gave up 35 sacks. So, they were planting our quarterback all over the ground. So that wasn't good. If you remember, we had to put Wimsatt in because he was a running quarterback, and Cutter Boley didn't fare any much better when he was in. So, yeah, that's the stats for 2024. 119th out of 134 FBS schools. And that's why most people aren't even giving us a chance. They're not looking at us in the spring. The video I just did on the SEC power rankings, people aren't even, they didn't even look at our spring practice. They're not even, like I said, they're just got a shovel and they're just shoveling dirt on Mark Stoops' grave. And they're not really, breaking us down at all. So let's talk about things we need to improve on and what we're going to do on offense, because it's going to be a little different. I think we're going to get back to the Eddie Grand style, which we should, a little bit more of running the football. But Mark Stoops has talked about 3 things the offense needs to improve on. Situational football, third down offense. Obviously, we need to improve on that. Short yardage or long yardage. We couldn't get, we couldn't stay on the field, which is why our defense had to be on the field all the time. So we need to be better on third down. Goal line, yes, we need to be better in short yardage and goal line offense, whether it's passing or running or whatever, because we were awful in the red zone. And then last thing is the most important thing we're just talking about, running the ball. So third down offense, goal line offense, running the football. That's what we're going to do. He said it all spring. It's just none of these big podcasts they don't care. They're not, they could care less about what he's saying because they've just got him gone. So what did we do what did Bush Hamden do and what did we do in the off season? First smart thing we did was we brought Eric Wolford back, and I did a video on that. It was kind of controversial. He left real quick to go to Alabama for Nick Saban, and then he wanted to come back. And I'm glad he came back because once I did a deeper dive into the offensive line, if you go back and watch my offensive line video, everybody that we got in the portal and all our players love him. And a couple of them say they specifically came because they remembered him being recruited. They remembered being recruited by him for us, or either they liked him so much his pitch sold them. So glad Coach Wolford is back. So that's one really good thing, and that's definitely going to help in the running game. We got a quarterback, Zach Calzada. Nobody's giving him, his due. I think he's a decent quarterback. but because he went to Incarnate Word for 2 years, I had to look up what's Incarnate Word. It's a school in San Antonio. It's the biggest Catholic university in Texas. So let's start at the beginning. He went to Texas A&M. He played in 2021. I have a friend who's an alum at Texas A&M, goes to every game, has been to every game, is my age, 60 years old. I asked him, if you go back and look at all my videos on our offense and our quarterbacks, about Zach Calzada, and he said the dude's a good quarterback. He specifically said Jimbo Fisher messed up the whole offense. Now, they 1 year in 2021, they beat Alabama. So they beat Nick Saban. That was Calzada that did that. So this guy's played in the SEC. It's not just some guy we picked up from the MAC or, Division II. The guy's played in the SEC. Now, what happened was they went 8-4, even though they beat Alabama, and he leaves. He goes to Auburn. He never plays at Auburn because he gets hurt, either in the spring or the summer. He got a really bad injury. I forgot what it was. And then they basically said, look, dude, we don't need you. We're moving on. And he never got to play at Auburn. So he ends up going to Incarnate Word, okay, which is a smaller school. But my friend told me straight up, the dude's got an arm. He's got a quick release and he can sling the ball. Now, you can go back and look at any of his highlights from Texas A&M or Incarnate Word. He's got some zip on the ball. He can throw the deep ball, and if you're open, he will get it to you. So I'm really, really optimistic about him as a quarterback. Go back and watch Jamori Macklin's interview after the spring game, and he talked about how he was surprised by Zach Calzada's arm. Yeah, this guy's played a lot of football. Once again, there's a theme that Mark Stoops has done. I call it the Mark Pope theme, where he's going and getting guys that are experienced, older guys that have played a lot of football. You're going to see it, and we're going to go over the portal. I think my next video I'll do, before I do the defense, a couple people have asked me to go over the losses and the portals, people that we picked up and the people that we lost. That'll probably be my next video. But yeah, Zach Calzada, I think right now he's got an edge over Cutter Boley coming out of the spring. Now, that may change in the summer, but right now he does. And the dude's going to turn 25. And, he looks ripped. I mean, Boley still looks like a teenager. This dude looks like he looks like a 25-year-old man. And like I said, go back and watch his highlights from the spring game, just the time that he was in there. I mean, he can put a zip on the ball and he can hit you if you're open. So I really like the experience. And I think he learned a lot at Incarnate Word. And I know people, all the good podcasts and all the professional people that have all the fancy graphics just say, I went to Incarnate Word, so he must suck. Well, he doesn't. So you heard it here first. I don't know how good he'll be, but I think he'll be better. I bet you he's better than the last two quarterbacks we had. So anyway, what else did we do? Offensive line. Guys, this is where we really, really improved. I mean, we went and got people who are good and have played a lot of football. Hamden and Stoops both said they wanted the O-line to be more experienced, bigger, and stronger. So they go out and they get a lot of good players. First guy I've been telling you about, I'm going to tell you about him every time I do a video, Ciaje Pete, from full-blooded Native American. Dude is ripped from New Mexico State. Now, he didn't leave. When all the New Mexico State people exited the coach, everybody went to Vanderbilt to get paid. I get it. He stayed behind, but then he got hurt. And I think he's like, hey, man, I want to get paid too. So we were able to get him. And I'm glad we got him. If you look at the guy, just go back and listen to him talk. He's a very smart individual, very smart guy. He's ripped. He's the real deal. They won 9 games when he played, whenever they had the quarterback that went to Vanderbilt. Now the name that escapes me, and that whole team, they were 9-4. They went to Auburn and beat Auburn 2 years ago. So this guy's a very good offensive lineman, and you're going to hear his name called. We got Joshua Braun. He played at Florida and Arkansas. Once again, played a lot of football. So he's good. The guy from Western Kentucky, Wibberly, the center. You might say, oh, well, it's Western Kentucky. Go back and watch the games that he played at Western. He's a good center. He can play in the SEC. And this Wolfslager from Bowling Green, he's a senior. Once again, you go, well, it's Bowling Green. Yeah, but the guy's he was one of the best offensive linemen in that league, and he's played a lot of football. So that's the theme that we have here to go along with all the offensive linemen that we have left over. Most of the guys I just named to you, Wibberly, Wolf Slager, Braun, Pete, they're going to start over the guys we had. There may be one or two guys we had, but these guys have played a lot of football and they know how to block. And I bet you our running game is going to be a lot better. So what else did we do? We went to the portal and got some running backs. Dante Dowdle from Nebraska, big strong guy. I mean, during the spring, Stoops and Hamden both bragged on him. Go back and look at our showcase game of him. I mean, he would have broke a 75-yard run, but if they tagged you, they weren't tackling. You were down. He would have broke one. That guy's big, fast, and strong. So I like him. Now, that's to go along with Wilcox. We already had Wilcox. Patterson's back. He's recovered from his injury. They liked him. They went out and picked up this Seth McGowan from New Mexico State. I talked about him. Got in trouble when he was a freshman at Oklahoma. Got arrested. Had to go get his life together and mature. But last year when he played, go back and look. I put on a shorts video. And look, when you do a shorts, you can only do 60 seconds, okay? Or it's you're going to get a strike for copyright. So one thing that Seth McGowan did at New Mexico State that impressed me was he caught the ball. Like there's a 40-yard touchdown wide receiver catch he made that really impressed me. But he caught, I think, 25, 30 passes maybe for a good average. So that guy can catch the ball out of the backfield, gives us another weapon. There's one, so that's four. There's 5 running backs, and the one guy who hasn't played, somebody down in the comments can tell me who it is. It escapes me, but supposedly he's a good running back too. His name escapes me. So we have a really good running back room, and that's what we're going to do, guys. All these guys on these professional podcasts, like I said, they think we're gonna Will Levis is still here and Cohen's still the offensive coordinator. That's not what we're gonna do. Getting back to Eddie Grand style of hand the ball off to Rodriguez, Benny Snell, and run the ball down some people's throat and get physical. That's what we should be doing. If we're going to go out, let's just go out doing that. I mean, Stoops, go out doing what you do best if we're going to go out. I think we're going to surprise some people. So, yeah, the running game, getting the offensive line, the running backs. We talked about the quarterback. I don't know. Right now, I think Calzada just has the edge over Boley just because it's physical. He's physically more of an athlete. His arm is a lot better, and he just has played so much football. He threw for 3,700 yards. Okay, it was incarnate word, but still, if you look, I'm not looking at the competition. When I watch him, I'm looking at the throws he's making and how, if somebody's downfield, he can put it right, drop it in over, or just put it right through a window, through a couple of guys. So if you just look at him, you're going, okay, my friend at Texas A&M was right. The guy's got an arm. So he just needs to learn the offense. That's what Stoops has said. He's coming in trying to learn a new offense. Our wide receivers. Okay. This is what the professional people say. They look at our wide receivers and they go, they don't have any burners. No, we did not go. We had Barry and Brown and Danke. Okay. And Macklin was the third receiver. What we did was, once again, we Mark Poped it. We still have Macklin. He came back, thank goodness. But we went after people who have played a little. They haven't played a lot, like Kendrick Law from Alabama, really fast. He went through a couple of their spring and summer camps. So you don't think that guy doesn't know how to play in the SEC? He's going to get a chance because he's really fast. J.J. Hester from Oklahoma. That's Troy Stellato from Clemson. We're getting people from Clemson, Oklahoma, Alabama. You see a theme here? Yeah, we were trying to get Louisiana Tech receiver, which we didn't get, but that's fine. He went to the pros. But we're going after some experienced people who know how to play football. And I think that's smart. So I think it's going to work out. I think you're going to see a different offense this year. Like I said, things we have to improve on is definitely situational football. And, I'm going to do a deep dive. I think I'm going to do a making the case. They have these making the case videos for making the case for Larry Bird, making the case for, basketball. You do this. Michael Jordan. Well, you do a making the case for Mark Stoops. There's a lot of things that went wrong last year. And it wasn't now some of it was Mark Stoops' fault. But, you look at Cohen leaving at the last minute. All of a sudden he comes back to Kentucky. I'm never going to leave and raise a family here. And then all of a sudden in February, he leaves, and we have to find Bush Hamden at the last second and try to get a spring practice and teach these guys the offense. So there's a lot of things that happen. Some of them were not in Mark Stoops' control. You're just not going to hear that from SEC Unfiltered or whatever other damn Paul Feinbaum. Paul Feinbaum won't even mention Kentucky, so that's fine. But yeah, there's a lot of things that happened that, yes, some of it was out of our control, but it wasn't just one or two things. I'm going to talk about Vandergriff and some of our other players and what really happened behind the scenes, because we learned later on there were some things that went on behind the scenes that weren't good. But anyway, I think we're going to be improved on offense. I will do a defense video, but a couple people have asked me to do the portal update video, so I'll probably do that next. Then we'll hit the defense, and then we'll see what happens over the summer. We're still looking for players. I didn't hear anything about the offensive lineman from Division II that visited Lexington. I didn't hear anything. He's probably going to go to some other schools. I think we're still looking for a wide receiver. I think the wide receiver room we have is good. I think the tight ends we have is good. We got the big blocking tight end from Illinois. That's going to help. They've talked about how well he can run block. Well, good. That, like I said, that's telling you when you start hearing, we're loading up on running backs. We're loading up on blocking tight ends. We're loading up on, running backs, offensive line, tight ends. We're going to run the football. So you'll probably see some 2 tight end sets. And yeah, we still have 2 tight ends who can catch the ball, but we're going to run the football, and I'm glad, because we need to get back to that. Clock management, stuff like that. We got to get into that in the making of the case video, because man, Mark Stoops sometimes really just blows my mind at the end of the first half, how he can't just the last minute or 2 of the half, he just completely messes that up sometimes. And now he told Matt Jones in an interview that he has someone in his ear that's telling them the analytics and the time and score. Well, you need to fire that guy and get somebody else. Supposedly Eddie Grant's taking a bigger role as the general manager, which thank goodness. But what really disappointed me, before I get off here, and what are we at? Good Lord, where is it? I've never done a video 17 minutes long. Okay, well, this has been a good video. And I'm not drinking bourbon, all right? I'm drinking Powerade. Go back and watch my SEC Power Ranking video. I'll try not to get drunk. But the Georgia game, it was 13-12 with 4 minutes left. We're at the 50-yard line, and Mark Stoops punched the ball back to Georgia. And I just yelled at this TV, and my wife, they're going to run out the clock. And my wife keeps telling me, why are you yelling at the screen? They cannot hear you. So what did they do when we punted the ball to them with 4 minutes? They ran out the clock. Dude, look, you got to go for it. I mean, there's some points, look, especially if you're fighting for your job and we're trying to win some games. Look, I would rather him go for it. I mean, do the Hal Mummy for all you guys that are older. Go for it. I would rather go for it and then them run down and beat us and lose than to say, hey, well, I thought we would have some time left. Well, you're going to get the ball back with 1.5 minutes left and 3 timeouts, and you haven't scored a touchdown or anything. You've only scored 4 field goals, and you're going to think you're going to go down the field? Come on, man. I mean, take some chances. That's what I want to see. Let's go down swinging if we're going to go down. But look, if you like this channel, please hit that subscribe button. Look, I'm up to 86 subscribers. I'll be in 2 days will be my 60th day. And you know what? I'm not trying to get thousands of subscribers and be a huge channel. I just want the diehards, the people that love Kentucky football like me and have suffered through this for a long time. Matt Jones always said, Kentucky football fans have never got paid so much to get so little in return. And, over the years, that has been true with some of the coaches we've had. But I've really enjoyed Mark Stoops' run here. If it's over, then fine. But you know what? The guy's the winningest coach in our football history. And he did some things that I really never thought would really be done. So, I wish he would do a little better. I think he's learned a lot. Will he stay another year? Is he overpaid? Look, man, that's up to you guys. Football makes a lot of money. Football, more than basketball. Football is where the money is. So we'll talk about a lot more Kentucky football over the summer. And don't forget about my shorts. As we get to 20 minutes here, I'm gonna cut this off. My shorts, I'll be putting some on every week. history of Kentucky football. Hey guys, thanks for watching.